Hey y'all, this is Judith, judithtomorrow.com, Judith Tomorrow Design. Today is the new moon reading for December. It's going to fall on Christmas Day this year in Capricorn, I believe. And this reading is for Christmas time, new moon time, but also solstice time. They're kind of coming together about the same time right now, and the general feeling is that there's a sort of a unity of the energy that's happening around all of these dates right now, and Hanukkah's right in there too. But mostly the new moon and the solstice both happening right now. It feels like a threshold period. It feels like we're moving into a certain quality of energy, and this is the reading for that energy. So the first card, the primary card that I've chosen, or that I pulled, I didn't choose it consciously, is called Walking. Walking is it's interesting. It's been coming up in my readings. It's been coming up in readings I've been doing for clients. It seems to be a very strong presence right now. It's a very intense card. Woohoo! This house here, this is the imagery that's being used. This house here is on little feet. They're walking down a path. And this little being up here is looking a little bit shocked by the independence and movement of this other being. It's an 11 of qualities, which means it's an archetypal big energy kind of a card. 11 and all the twos, one and one add up to 2. All of those are about how the transcendent soul, spiritual energy, and material are presently coming together and manifesting themselves as one. So there's this increase in the vibration of material, and there's the increase of embodiment of fine energy, high vibration, or what we might also call soul energy or spiritual energy, or our spirit or soul. So there's this intensification as our spirit really expresses itself and mobilizes itself within the material body, within our material reality. Instead of, sometimes we do this thing where we separate out and we're like, we're spiritual out here or we're practical down here. This is a different kind of mix and match experience. This is like embodying our energy, our soul, through the vibration of material fully. So these cards, the 11 cards especially, really express that. And when you're dealing with a quality card, the archetypal suit, you're really dealing with sort of like this very strong, integrative, higher purpose thing. So this card, Walking, is about how right now in our time, the energy of our soul, fully manifested in the body, is sort of sitting in the driver's seat. And this little being up here is sort of all of our plans, all of our ego thoughts about how things are supposed to be. You can see that it's smaller than this. It's a smaller version of our higher energy, this little ego thing. And it's kind of shocked and confused that this house on these legs has its own mobility, ability to move. So it's a little bit like how it will turn up in your life. Your soul is in the driver's seat. The material of your soul is in the driver's seat, not just like something out here, but that has the reality of things, events, situations coming up that are very physical expressions of your soul's highest purpose. It may not look the way you think it's going to. This has been a little bit of a reoccurring theme in the last couple of readings. Retraction, I talked about, I think, in the last reading, the last new moon, the last full moon reading, and that is a materialization of things. There's a real materializing aspect that's happening right now. And often when that materialization happens, we get the experience of seeing, oh, that's what I've been calling for. That's not what I thought I was calling for. Maybe I don't want that. Sometimes we look at it and go, maybe I'll choose like door number 3 instead. We still have that capacity when we're doing this materialization of things. It's not that same all or nothing thing. We can bring it up. We can see it. We can say, maybe not so much. And we can create something else. But what this card is specifically about is that there's a quality of the soul having more I almost want to say veto power than the rest of our consciousness, the rest of our egos and stuff like that. In some ways, we let it be the leader right now. We can fight it, we can be shocked and surprised, but there's a real power happening right now that is pushing us forward. So that's the primary card. That's intense enough, right? So then I pull this card and I'm like, oh, okay, this is great. So this card is called Ice. It is one of the more mysterious and mystical cards. I don't even really fully understand why it's called Ice. That was the name that I channeled. The way that it has been explained to me by the cosmos or whatever that comes through me is that ice is one of those substances that as you cool it down from its liquid form being water, it actually expands. You know this when you put ice cubes into the freezer and they pop out of their things, okay? Ice expands, if I'm remembering early physics from high school, because it forms a crystalline pattern that takes up more space than the water molecules in a fluid state. Physicists may say that's not quite right, but that's my memory. When you have a phase change where you're going from a fluid to a solid and it becomes colder, you have a contraction. Things get smaller. Same with gas going to liquid. What they say about the card is called ice is because when we go through this contraction of cooling, which is also a densification, there's actually an expansion on the interior. And this is true as we go through our expression as humans in the world right now, is that as we contract, as we become more material, we don't actually just collapse in ourselves, but there is an expansion within that holds a bigger space within us. Our structure expands so that we can have a more of a crystalline structure to ourselves. So that's what this card references. Nice after this one, right? Okay. And what they're saying in particular, so this is a 12 of Source card. Source is a suit, and it has to do with space and volume and energy and where we generate energy from. And the 12 cards are the higher vibrational aspect of 3. The 12 is 1 plus 2 is 3. These all have to do with the inward movement of the soul. These all have to do with understanding our own movement and our own emotion and rearranging ourselves and putting ourselves together again. It's our inward journey cards, inward process cards. And what this card specifically, and I won't go through all the imagery, but it's a very bizarre set of imagery. And as I've said, this was all channeled. So, I didn't sit there logically trying to figure this out ahead of time. This is like, I did this and then I'm like, okay, what does it mean? So there's a little, what I call these egg people, egg person here, egg person here, egg person here. There's a tree. These are also often referred to as seeds. You can see that there's this echoey pattern that's happening. A lot of the time, this card refers to the way that we manifest ourselves in different incarnations. And you can think of that in terms of past lives, or you can think of that in terms of different roles that we take on in our lives. However you want to do it, it's the way that there are aspects of ourselves that manifest into a certain form at different times. What they're saying about this in this particular context, which is actually quite beautiful, is that this is a changing of timelines that's happening right now. That there's a lot at this particular junction and moving maybe forward definitely for the next month, but even maybe a month and a half. This is a very soft time. So it's got sort of soft edges. It kind of extends a little into the past, a little into the future, this particular reading. What this is saying is that there's a lot of potential right now to change timelines for yourself, for the planet, for others. Collectively, there's a lot of focus on sort of changing timelines. So in any moment, we have the possibility, many, many possibilities, right? And so sometimes our choices take us in one set of routes, and sometimes it takes us in another set of routes. And this is this moment right now where we're very flush with these moments that can take us down these accelerated routes in this path. So a lot of this is right now trusting the soul. It's got a mission. It's a soul on a mission, people. And trusting this to take us down this really powerful and somewhat mystical process of almost rearranging the path that we're taking. It's almost like your soul's going through the woods, and you're going through the woods, and it suddenly goes, I have this great idea for a shortcut. Just go with it. Just like I told a client today, it's like be in the house instead of outside of the house. Ride this baby, you know, ride this wave. It can be a little intense. It can be not what you planned, but it's going to be real fun in the long run. It's going to take you places that you're going to really be glad that you experienced, even though it may be bumpy at times, because there's a lot that happens when you rearrange those timelines, when you rearrange your purpose, when your soul takes the lead. It can be a little bit like a catch-up time, rearrangement of the soul on the inside, getting the head to catch up. Just, eat good food, drink lots of water, that sort of thing. You breathe through it and stuff like that, and see where it takes you. See what happens in this next month and a half, something like that. And if something exciting happens, write it in the comments below. It's a good story. And you can subscribe to my YouTube channel. Somewhere along here is a button to do that. And also I am reminding people that we are having a Reset Your Energy event. I'll put the link below. And that is a process I do with my clients, or I do for my clients, of clearing and grounding and changing the structure of the energy of their environments when I'm working with them. And I'm doing a collective community one where I take everyone through that process. So if you're interested, it's free, it's fun, it's an event, it'll be recorded even if you can't show up. It's January 2nd of 2020. It's just about a week and a half from now. That'll be exciting. And if you sign up, then you'll be part of the process. All right, thank you so much. Take care. Have wonderful holidays. Have wonderful transitions. Breathe a lot. Drink a lot of water. Take lots of naps. All right, take care. Bye-bye.